Up, everyone? Welcome into More Important Issues. Total domination. I don't know how many syllables domination has, but I put quite a bit in there. But that's how much it was on Saturday. Going into Columbia, winning like that on the road, it was just a lot of fun. I just had fun. Did you have fun?
It was one of the most fun games I've watched.
Yeah,
as a Tennessee fan. Because, and I'll get into this. I mean, say what you want about how Missouri played on Saturday, but they're not that bad.
No, they're not. Yeah, I think I'm. I know we're going to talk about this in a second, but I was kind of like, the defense gets overlooked a lot because of the offensive numbers, but I thought the defense was stout.
And I think there's two position group, or I guess maybe not a position group as far as that goes, but two position groups that have played really, really well this year that just continue, like they just kind of continued their trajectory on Saturday. Like they almost moved into dominance on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. It was dominance by a Tennessee team that needs to win these next two games, Missouri and South Carolina, to really get to that ceiling of 6-6, maybe 7-5.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Uh-oh. Now he's getting real excited.
Yeah, we're talking 8-4, baby. We're going for it.
I like it.
Guys, we're going to get into things real quick. Here's our intro. Let's get it.
Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby.
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins. By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Monday, October 4th. We're in October. It's spooky season, if you will. Tennessee rolled on Saturday. Can they continue that this coming Saturday? I am not, in the words of my friend that was obsessed with Johnny Majors, attack. I'm not sitting at home. I'm going to South Carolina. I won't be at the game this week, unfortunately. I will actually be in South Carolina. But I'm kind of upset because Josh Heupel has done it. He's got me fired up.
He got you reeled in.
He's got me riled up.
Yeah, we were talking about it before. I mean, that's the most fun that we've had watching a Tennessee game in a long time. And especially during the Pruitt era. I can't remember a time I was just like, man, that was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, but if Pruitt was coaching this year, I mean, he recruited these guys.
Yeah, he gets all.
I'm sure his offense. Could his offense score 62 points this season?
Absolutely.
Well, I guess Chaney's offense. I don't know how he calls it.
I would like to see how many points actually scored last season because I bet.
Over 62.
Right. But I bet that Josh Heupel is really close to that total number already through game 5.
Yeah, no, I would guess that's close. I agree. We don't need to let off the gas pedal there. I've seen some comments. I don't know if we can see them on. Having to look on Twitter. Dub, what happened to the shirts I mentioned at the beginning of the season? What shirts are we talking about? I come up with. I'm an ideas guy, not a project guy. I just say stuff. It doesn't always result in things. I just say it, try to speak it into existence.
The God bless football ones. We need to get those things out and available.
Yeah, people, if you want them, let us know. We'll make it happen. And then Kentucky. I mean, I was about to say this week in college football was just a fun week. I mean, there were a lot of good matchups. There were a lot of good games.
Not a great week to bet on, probably.
I lost a lot. Well, except for Friday night, I lost a lot of money. But I mean, just a great week of college football. The SEC triple header was freaking awesome, right? I know the noon game was a blowout, but at least Georgia it wasn't a boring blowout. Like Georgia just played dominant football. It was a fun triple header. And then obviously if you're a Tennessee fan, You got to enjoy the noon kickoff in Como. Is that right?
Como.
Shout out to
It's
Landon
catching
and Aaron
on.
Kane. I still am not buying that that's real. But yeah, so I thought it was a great week of college football. Obviously, great to be a Tennessee fan. So Power T Tape tweeted out this statistic. I haven't fact checked him. I'm just blindly trusting him. He's probably right. Tennessee gained 97% of available yards on Saturday. That's impressive no matter who you're playing. So let's pretend Missouri's terrible, which we knew their defense was terrible. That was a storyline coming into this game. But you gained 97% of available yards. The number would have grown if that last touchdown had counted.
Yeah, I mean, we could have been talking about a nice win if we score that last touchdown. But yeah, I think when we talked about this game going into it, we said Tennessee really had to clean up penalties and take care of the football, and they did just that. That's what I was super impressed with. Only 2 penalties for 20 yards after having double-digit penalties in 2 games so far this season.
And I'm glad Tennessee did that for a couple of reasons. Mizzou got penalized like freaking crazy. That game would have gone to 5 o'clock if they were throwing penalty flags on both teams.
That was a long – it was a long that first half was super long, I felt like.
I don't know the exact – so I'd be curious to see the timing of it. The first quarter was – it felt long to me, but for I don't know.
I'm sure it felt really long to Missouri fans.
Oh, God. But what's crazy, someone posted a screenshot. Tennessee, it was 7-3 with 5 minutes left. Is that right? That's insane. I can go pull up the play-by-play. It was something like that. And I guess that's why. So, it felt long, but at the same time, it flew by. So, I don't know. It was awesome. There's no doubt in my mind that was the best first quarter I've ever experienced. No, there's no way that's true. I was wondering. When did Tennessee get the ball?
I mean, they got the ball first because, there was
5:21 left when Tyon scored his first touchdown.
We went up 7-3. No, that's all right.
The first touchdown was to Javonte Payton.
Okay, that's
Tyon Evans had the second touchdown, but it was his first.
So it was 14-3 with 5:21 left.
Yeah. But that's probably where that screenshot came, was the probably before that second.
Before he scored.
Or that second touchdown with 5:32 left or something like that. So
yeah.
That's nuts. That is insane. So we talked about, well, first off, you mentioned it. Thank you. Shout out to all the players that made us look smart this week that we pumped up. Because, I'll be honest. If Tennessee loses that game by 3, I'm not incredibly shocked. That was what the line was at. I'm probably not sitting here going, how did you lose that game? Obviously, depending on the fashion it was lost in. But to believe Tennessee was even going to do anything like that to Missouri, I know Missouri just doesn't look like a great team on paper. If we want to talk about the team that won the big game this week, Kentucky, they were 7 points away from beating Kentucky, a last drive away, or from going to overtime.
Yeah.
A touchdown away, a couple yards away from beating Boston College or tying Boston College. They're not just this, to this point.
They're not Bowling Green.
They're not Bowling Green. They're not Bowling Green.
Who beat Minnesota? They had a good win. They're not Tennessee Tech. And I was telling Joe this before the show. I felt like we dominated Missouri more than we did Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, and I think part of that too, and a lot of people just described it it just seemed like from the very first offensive snap, the game plan was wasn't only well called, it was executed perfectly. And I think a lot of what Missouri's not good at, Tennessee is good at. So you talk about the run game. Well, you talk about 2 running backs that have just kind of been slowly coming on. And then an offensive line who, this is one of the position groups I was mentioning. I think the offensive line has played really, really well this year. I thought they played pretty good against Florida. But then they go out and they play a lesser defensive line and they just dominate. Just really show out.
Yeah.
And two, with backups in, guys that aren't originally in your starting lineup.
Yeah, I was going to say with Cooper Mays out, you had to basically, you're not starting 2 starters at their current position.
Right.
Or at their starting position. So you have Carvin move over to center. So that's a backup. And then you have Ollie Lane in there at guard. And yeah, I thought the whole offensive line as a whole, Caden Mays was offensive lineman of the week. And he didn't even play a lot in the second half. So it just tells you how much Tennessee dominated this game. And from the opening kickoff. I mean, that first defensive drive, they cause a 3 and out, get a couple of tackles for loss. I think Jeremy Banks had his sack in that drive. So yeah, just set the tone from the get-go. And then it was just guns a-blazing on offense.
Right. Should have had 3 and outs from the get-go for Tennessee's defense. That third drive, I mean, first off, I'll go ahead and lend credit to Missouri. I think it was like 3rd and 8. Like, it was a 3rd and long situation. They converted that. They had a holding penalty that drive and maybe 2 holding penalties that drive. They had 2 third downs, 2 holding penalties that drive. They got it into field goal range. And then also credit to Tennessee's defense for – I know you did get some help from the officials, but you did get them in 3rd down situations. You did get them off the field and force them to kick a field goal. So, I mean, maybe that wasn't your best defensive drive of the day, but at the end of the day, you did keep them out of the end zone, which is obviously
you didn't break.
You didn't break.
Break.
But I thought Tennessee's defense played really well. I texted you probably into the second quarter, and I was like, Tim Banks simp. Like, I'll simp all day for Tim Banks. I was not fond of the hire in the sense of not like I hate Tim Banks, nothing against him, but it's like an unproven guy who hasn't called plays. Anyone could fairly not be excited about that hire, but I think he has done a phenomenal job with this defense. My favorite part about Missouri that I don't think Tennessee's done yet, and it's probably a byproduct of who you're playing. It felt like they were on the offense the whole time. Like, it felt like they were able to take Missouri,
attack,
put them on their heels, and really just take it to them from the get-go, which is obviously a defensive advantage. It helps that Missouri's pretty one-dimensional, at least with everything going through Beatty. But I mean, again, we can sit here and talk about if we want to picking apart bad teams, especially with what we've seen in college football. I just don't think it doesn't matter. Like, you still went out and executed really, really well, which you've not done this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you've done stuff that you haven't really hit on, like the deep throws. Was there any deep, maybe one overthrow, but that's going to happen. But it just felt like we completed those.
Yeah, and if the defender doesn't grab him, is it completed?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, how do you miss that? Number one, I don't know how.
There was definitely I don't know if definitely a makeup call, but close to a makeup call. Maybe that next play they called, I think, pass interference on a slant that was close. Mm-hmm. So, I agreed. I mean, your offense was firing on all cylinders. I think that's why they created that word. So it was.
And good on 3rd down too. 6 of 10. 1 for 2 on 4th down. So 50% on 4th down is pretty good. I'll take that. And then 60% on 3rd down. I mean, I think Tennessee's been pretty bad on 3rd down up to this point. So it was good to get, and I think a lot of that, it starts with 1st and 2nd down, getting closer to the spot, and you make 3rd and manageable, and you give your offense a chance. If you're back, with false starts and holding and stuff like that, you end up 3rd and 20, 3rd and 15, and it's just hard to convert those. So I thought Tennessee was really good on 3rd down.
Yeah, agreed. And I think we talked about that on Thursday too, about that having to be a point of emphasis for Tennessee, because Missouri's 3rd down defense is not good. So you don't want to have a bad day against a bad defense. That's never the idea. I know we want to get into some playmakers, some guys that maybe not their first time getting in the end zone or their first time making big plays, but you tweeted it. I think Tennessee has found its target, who it needs to target. And actually, we'll get into one guy that kind of moved around to do that. We did have a question comments on the Urban Meyer story. First off, if you don't think I'm going to talk about the Urban Meyer story, you're drunker than Urban Meyer. And then someone mentioned we need to keep getting better from the DN spot. I agree with that, and I do want to touch on that. Where Tennessee's going to get killed, and in the next 2 weeks, I don't mean killed like literally going to get killed on the football field, although they may. It may be a similar 62-24 story we're talking about in 2 weeks. But when you have quarterbacks like Emory Jones, Matt Corral, I think Tennessee's doing a really, really good job of putting pressure on the quarterback, making him make decisions, move out of the pocket, make throws. But they're going to have to, especially when they play a mobile quarterback, they're going to have to find that guy that finishes the play. They've got guys that are getting there. They've got guys that are getting the pressure. But who's going to be the guy that steps up and finishes? Is it going to be Tyler Barron? Is it going to be Give me another DM
Byron
name.
Young.
Byron Young. I almost called him Bryce Young. Byron Young. Who's going to be the guy that makes the sack or gets the quarterback down? I think that's going to be the challenge. Not this week. I think you do you get a break from that against South Carolina. You got a break with that from Connor Bazelak, who's not as mobile. But yeah, I agree. Got to get some better play from the DN spot. Not that it's been bad. Just when you play those more mobile quarterbacks, you've got to have a guy that's going to finish the play. That's all I think. So,
yeah, and I think they did a really good job of, I think Tyler Beatty, I think he's the second leading rusher in the SEC, and he was averaging like 150 yards per scrimmage coming into Saturday, and we held him to 68 yards, so I'm sure that was a point of emphasis. And being without one of your middle linebackers in Jawan Mitchell, your starting safety, and Trayvon Flowers, I thought the entire defense really keyed on him, and they put it on Connor Bazelak to beat them.
Yeah.
They weren't going to let Tyler Beatty beat them. So I think that was huge, and that's another reason. When you sent that I'm simping for Tim Banks now, I'm like, dude, I'm right there with you, because taking Tyler Beatty out of the game is easier said than done, and they took it to a whole nother level. 68 total yards,
right? And you
24
mentioned
touches. Yeah,
you mentioned easier said than done. The reason for that is it's not as simple as just having a good rush, good defensive line stopping the run. Like I still believe he may be one of the most dynamic players in the SEC. And you didn't just limit him to 41 yards rushing, but you also limited him to 27 yards receiving. He only had 3 receptions. I'm not sure how many targets. So you, like you said, just able to really take it away from him and make someone else beat you. So yeah, Tim Banks, you've got my vote here. Before we move into playmakers, Bill Peake mentioned, I don't know if you'll know this, Landon, when was the last time Tennessee beat an SEC team by that much? I think he said that wasn't Vandy. I mean, I don't even know the last time Tennessee beat Vandy scoring 62 points.
We scored 60 on I don't remember Vandy, but the last time we scored 60 points on an SEC opponent was Missouri in 2016.
Wow. Okay.
And I think the next time, I think we've only scored 60 points like twice since like 1950 or something like that. Or 5 times. 5 times since 1950. And I think it was Missouri twice, and I think Vanderbilt 3 times, something like that.
That makes sense. Checks out. At Vanderbilt, speaking of great college football, the Vanderbilt-UConn game.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a second of it. I'll tune into bad football because I love college football, but
it was good that
that wasn't on my radar.
It was close, and they actually scored a lot more points than I thought they would, but
and not all defensive touchdowns like I thought they may be.
Not a great. There definitely wasn't 40,000 people there like it said on ESPN.
Oh, not a chance. I mean, there weren't even 40,000 people watching.
I think a lot of people just went because tickets were literally $1.
Yeah, but it also rained. I hope people were smart enough to just be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't think, it's also Nashville. Like, there's way more happening things in Nashville than to go to a Vanderbilt football game.
Right. Like anything.
Anything. Pick it. You can put Vanderbilt in any town, and I think that statement holds true.
Yeah, I'd rather go watch like Lipscomb Academy or Montgomery Bell Academy.
You might see it roll big red. You might see a fight break out at a Lipscomb Academy game. It might be worth the price of admission.
Oh, from the coach?
Yeah. Old Trent. So playmakers, you talked about it, and I think the maybe not the right word, most notable one to use, Velus Jones Jr. And today, Heupel talked about how they moved him to the slot, and it was just a matter of they had to find better ways to get him the ball, and he wasn't getting the touches on the outside. It's definitely clear through 5 games, or so far what we know through 5 games. It really seems like the slot receiver is going to be your premier receiver in this offense. Cedric Tillman, you see him getting a lot of targets from there. Obviously, moving Velus Jones Jr. to there to get the ball to him. That's been a big point of emphasis. So you obviously had a really, really great game from Velus Jones Jr. At the receiving position. His one touchdown, that 35-yard tunnel screen, was that's the kind of stuff you expect from him. Kind of, not that it wasn't nothing. It was a well-called play. Offensive line got out in front and blocked, but you're not expected to go 35 yards to the house on a tunnel screen. They were trying to get a 9-yard, I think, first down. That's what they were trying to do.
Right. And it was on 3rd down, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, something like that. I think it was right after either a holding penalty or something. I believe it was right after a penalty.
Okay.
I think it got pushed back to like 3rd and 9.
Yeah, I think he's already Tennessee's leading receiver up to this point and didn't play a ton in those first couple games. Was dealing with a nagging injury, I think a hamstring. So finally seeing him healthy is really good, and I think it's given Tennessee a big boost. It definitely seems like Peyton, Velus Jones, and Cedric Tillman are probably your 3 main targets on the outside. Now they will switch out some guys, but I don't think Callaway played. Ramel Keaton played a little bit. Jaylen Hyatt played a little bit. But it definitely seems like those 3 guys are your go-to guys on the outside right now.
Yeah, and Cedric Tillman's been a shock, and they've really tried to get the ball to him. And I believe it was Golish. Someone mentioned it was the announcer said that Golish told them their goal is to get Cedric Tillman 10 touches, which is, I mean, just when you talk about speed, and I mean, you didn't even really know if he'd be your best possession receiver. He's not the guy that stands out to you. Yet he does get behind the defenses.
He's Mr. Reliable.
He is. And he's obviously been in plenty of chances to make plays. And I'm the way Javonte Payton's playing, Velus Jones Jr. is playing now, I think it's just going to open more up for Cedric Tillman. And then obviously hopefully get some other guys involved. And you had Princeton Fant and Jacob Warren both having to catch a piece, tight ends getting involved in the game. That's makes it the Tennessee's offense even more dynamic. And we kind of talked about how Tennessee's offense is getting more dynamic with Hendon Hooker at quarterback. And is he the best passer? Maybe to be determined. He looks like it right now. But he definitely gives your offense another angle of attack. So that's obviously beneficial. Hendon Hooker played really well, 15 and 19, 225 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 80 yards rushing. I mean, and a touchdown there. You can't ask any more of your quarterback on any other day. Like, I mean, it's
yeah, it sucks, but I mean, props to Josh Heupel for making that switch.
Yeah, I'm gonna pump the brakes on that one. Butch Jones had to start Butch Jones eventually, or Butch Jones had to start Josh Dobbs eventually too.
That's true. But it's more than Pruitt did. I mean, Pruitt would just not play anybody until like he literally had to. But yeah, I think Hendon Hooker's your guy, and it does kind of make you wonder if Hooker plays the full game against Pitt, are we sitting here 4-0 and maybe talking about being ranked in the top 25?
4-1. We lose to Florida.
Oh yeah, what'd I say?
Emory Jones ate us up 4-0.
Oh, I meant 4-1.
You're
Sorry.
good.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I say I'm going to pump the brakes on like making the right decision. Now, because he was kind of forced to go to Hooker in the Pitt game. Now he did stay with Hooker when Milton looked healthy. Now that doesn't mean he's 100% healthy. But credit, I mean, credit to, I guess, being able to. Hooker just does so much for you. It's like, how can you not be at least somewhat successful? I'm not saying Hooker goes out there and throws for 230 yards and rushes for 80 in any offense. So, I mean, obviously credit for that, but Hendon Hooker looks like he's every bit of QB1, and it's kind of shocking that he didn't stand out like this in camp. And maybe it's because it's tough to rush in camp. You get the whistle blown early, so you're not making the extra plays. You're not calling a ton of run plays against your one offense with your QB1 back there. So maybe that's part of it. But from what all we've seen, it's shocking he wasn't QB1 from the get-go.
Yeah, and somebody told me, some guy came up to me. I was wearing a Tennessee shirt in Myrtle Beach, and he was like, do you know who the best – it was during the summer. He was like, do you know who the best quarterback on your roster is? And I was like, Harrison Bailey, Joe Milton. He's like, no, Hendon Hooker. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, he was right. I should have listened to the guy. But
who's this guy?
But yeah, that Hendon Hooker's making him look like a freaking genius because he's definitely showed out and gave. It's been the best quarterback play that Tennessee's seen since 2016, since Josh Dobbs left.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Also, kind of going to the defensive side of the ball. I know maybe sometimes those guys don't get enough credit. Theo Jackson continues to show out. Have we heard anything about him exiting the game? Good to go, maybe.
Yeah, I think some of those guys went out and they just got other people reps. Like Tamari McDonald came in, Danico Slaughter played. So I think if they were hurt, you'd probably hear more about it. So that the fact is that you're not hearing anything is probably a good sign.
Good deal. And then obviously Jeremy Banks, and I've thought he's played pretty good all year. I thought he's at least been. He's kind of done what the middle linebackers expect to do and just been everywhere, making play. I thought he's had chances to make plays all over the field. Well, Saturday he did. Had a sack, an interception, almost a pick six, 2 tackles for a loss. Jeremy Banks, I think, is kind of coming into his own. And, will he get beat by better players? Maybe, but I think he's at least going to be there with the opportunity to make plays. And obviously you want to make the plays like he did that this Saturday. But I think he's progressively getting better, and I hope it continues in the probably what's been the worst part of his game up to this point in pass coverage. I mean, obviously that interception wasn't a great throw, but it was still he had to make a heck of a play just to catch it, keep his feet, and then almost go score. It was a pretty dang good play. I'm excited for. I think Jeremy Banks has just gotten better this year.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely looks like the leader of your defense. His sack, and you have 2 tackles for a loss. I mean, props to that. I mean, Jeremy Banks, yes, great. Aaron Beasley, I was super impressed with. He had led the team in tackles with 8, had a 1.5 tackles for loss. He just seemed like he was all over the place. And I don't know if it was just because Missouri just wasn't going anywhere and he just happened to be there every single time, but it just felt like every time we saw a tackle, 24 was right around the ball every single time.
Yeah, Aaron Beasley's played really well this year, and I think he's been registered. I think he's gotten credit for a ton of tackles, whether he's actually gotten there or not. Maybe he's friends with the stat keeper. Another guy that's not. I kind of mentioned like our defensive line seemed like getting a lot of pressure both in the run game and pass game. Like I thought Elijah Simmons was really, really important to the running game against Bowling Green, even though I think he only had like 1 tackle. I feel like you saw a lot of kind of similar to that this week, a lot of Caleb Tremblay where he maybe wasn't making the tackle, but he was busting up the play. He was making Tyler Beatty look elsewhere or making Connor Basil get the ball out fast or making him pay for it. Like I feel like Caleb Tremblay's played really well up to this point. Not that he's just padded his stats or anything, but I think he's been a really, really, especially being a transfer, a big part of that defense and being successful, that defensive line specifically.
Yeah, and it was good to see those, Trayvon Flowers is out, so Christian Charles got the start, and then Tamari McDonald came in, Danico Slaughter got some run. So it was good to see kind of those younger defensive backs get in the game, and I thought Tamari McDonald really stood out to me, having 5 tackles, had a pass deflection as well. So those guys really stood out to me. Getting in the game, getting some reps, I think that was good. I don't think you got enough people reps. That was kind of my one knock, is like I felt like you could have got them in a little sooner. Especially Hendon Hooker. Like in the 4th quarter, he was still in. I was like,
yeah,
all right, guys.
Especially when he's like maybe banged up. Like you're like,
yeah,
I've seen all I need to see.
Yes, especially when you have like a designed quarterback run in the 4th quarter. I'm like, dude, no.
Let's see him drop back in the pocket and make a pass if he's going to play. Let's calm down here.
Yeah, let's get him to hand the football off. Get some timing down. I don't know.
All right. We've kind of talked about Tim Banks, but do you have anything else you want to add other than,
Tyon freaking Evans.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess we didn't talk about him in Playmakers. No, Tyon Evans
he's Tennessee's best player. I'll say it.
So I know this is like, I'm not trying to look ahead to the Kentucky game at all, but just kind of to the credit of like Missouri. Missouri's not good. We know that after this week, but everyone's like, not everyone. There's some Tennessee fans and national media too that are Tennessee. They played a terrible Missouri team. Going into this year, would you have said Kentucky had the better run game or Tennessee?
Kentucky.
Yeah, and they didn't do that to Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you can maybe say their defense is bad, but they're not Vanderbilt bad. They're still an SEC team. They still have a high-powered offense, in my opinion. And the fact that Tim Banks was able to hold his defense, was able to hold this team to basically 10 points. I mean, they scored on a kickoff return, and then they scored with 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. So basically, in one-on-one, 1 versus 1s, it was probably they gave up 10 points.
Right. Well, Kentucky did. I didn't realize Rodriguez had 198 yards rushing in that game. He also played the entire game because that game came down to a possession, but I digress. Landon frozen. I was waiting on a response. Nothing. We'll wait on him to come back in. I think I'm going. We're good. Well, I don't know if he has anything to add to Tim Banks. We'll wait, see if he's got anything there. But it was announced today that Tennessee will take on Ole Miss, home game, 7:30. I don't know what channel. I'm assuming ESPN. I'm not going to think, not alternate network for this game, surely. Surely not. There's Joe. I was like, I got left out alone. Yeah, 7:30 Eastern against Ole Miss. Joe, are you a fan of the black jerseys?
Okay. Kind of. If I had to pick one, I'd rather do Checker Neyland. Like, I'm just waiting. Like, night game. I like the idea of the black jerseys. I've seen them, like, released, like, some different ideas for them and, like, the actual person. I like them. Not, like, either side. I'm not, like, you have to wear them. I'm not, like, stop with the new traditions. Like, I don't know. I love them. I mean, I think they look good, but I'd rather beat Ohio Ole Miss. That's all that matters.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, the reason I asked, I was going to say, if you do like them, would you rather see them noon game versus South Carolina, 7:30 night game against Ole Miss?
I would say night game against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going to bring them out, let's bring them out. And it's what everybody wants. So, like, whatever's going to get the crowd, like, let's fill Neyland up.
Yeah. Get a little extra juice going.
Exactly. Like, whatever's going to get them going. I don't know.
The one thing I'll say, like, as far as that goes, because obviously everyone would be incredibly fired up if that happened. It won't. Maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I don't know if it'll ever match the energy that it was in 2009 when people were kind of expecting it because some information had leaked that, maybe black jerseys were happening, but then everyone was like, it's not happening. They obviously warm up in orange jerseys, and then the roar of the crowd when everyone starts seeing it black. I guess I don't know how it'd match that. That is like, people want to argue about tradition. I know it's maybe not Tennessee tradition. That's one of the cooler Tennessee moments of my life. So,
because everyone that's in touch would like go absolutely nuts when they come out. Like,
oh yeah,
like when they see them on the jumbotron, like ready to run out, they would get.
I'm a fan of the smoky gray. If we're talking about just, I think you said like you kind of like the black look, the smoky gray look. I'm a huge fan of. Even though I also love orange and white, I don't know. It's first off, it's a jersey. As long as you're not wearing just like Oregon's over the top for me. But
right, yeah.
every other than that, I can handle it. I'm not against it.
No, I was a big fan of smoky grays. I don't want to remember that time, but it's fine. But the smoky grays, I thought they were sweet. I would love when that 2016 time with those jerseys. Those were nice.
Yeah, I thought they did really well with those, but yeah, Ole Miss. First off, Checker Neyland is really cool. I think Landon's got a photo of him behind him. But that's when you're talking about just like something that makes Tennessee special. That's one of the coolest traditions. Even though I guess it's not technically a tradition. I don't know what the established timeline of tradition is. No one will say, but that's got to be up there.
Yeah, it's just whatever can get like that crowd, that extra like that bump. Like I don't know. You saw it against like Oklahoma, like when that place is going like that, it's Ole Miss. I mean, Lane Kiffin knows, but that place can get bumping and it can get ugly real quick, no matter. I mean, Alabama and Georgia is one story, but I think if Ole Miss, I don't know. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to.
We'll get into Ole Miss. I guess 2 weeks from now, or a week from Thursday. I'm not willing to say it's out of the realm of possibility. What do you think? Like this week, what were your just kind of reactionary thoughts? Were you completely? I mean, I was like, all right, we might win in 8 games now. Or were you more hesitant?
Like after the Missouri win?
Yeah, after the Missouri game, were you just completely like too fired up for reason, or were you?
I was like cautionarily excited because I've done this a billion times where it's like, oh wow, we looked fantastic, and then we go and blow a game, But 12-point is it 12-point favorite still against South Carolina? I saw it move down.
It's 10.5 now.
10.5. So like
Okay.
that's still pretty hefty, but I don't know. I definitely feel a lot better. I definitely don't think it might I think we can look above 500 and be totally okay. Like settling for above 500. I don't think 6-6 is too. Above 6-6 isn't too much to ask for.
I'll say this: South Carolina's worse than Missouri.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, they look like trash. I mean, they can't even score a defensive touchdown properly.
I was about to say their defense may be a little bit better than Missouri's, but as a team, no, they're awful. Landon, we were asking about the black jerseys. I mean, do you like the black jerseys? Is my first question. My second question: would you wear them for South Carolina or Ole Miss?
Ole Miss for sure. I'm not against the black jerseys. I think it's cool.
So you're not.
I'm not going to spend $100 and buy one from Ball Shop. I'm not doing that. It doesn't look that great to me. Now if they go on sale for like $45, $50, I mean maybe I might purchase one at that point. But I'm not spending that big bill for a black jersey now.
Just wait till Heupel gets fired. They'll drop.
But yeah, I think it's cool. I would like to get some more alternate uniforms. So whatever they have in the works, yeah, let's do it.
I want more orange and white alternates.
Yeah,
I agree. I'd like to see a different helmet.
Yeah, not even like it doesn't have to be drastically different. Just literally change the side logo. Like
Yeah, I would like to see interlocking UT. I think that'd be dope.
The Rifleman would be great.
Vol-Star would be dope.
What about that Walmart Smoky?
No, hell no. the Walmart Smoky hat that guy was wearing, and I'm like, of course, that guy stealing from an old lady is wearing the Walmart Smoky hat. They go hand in hand.
He needed a new hat. Like he did need it. Dude,
he didn't even have a hat in his hand. He had like shirts and polos. He probably had the checkerboard overalls.
Ooh, that would be a great call. I
know Joe's got some checkerboard overalls, don't you, Joe?
Yes, they've been ripped. The story is like behind that. I need a new pair because the other ones have been ripped. But
so you got that guy to go steal you some.
Yeah, we don't talk about I don't know what you're talking about. That I thought I did a better job covering myself. But
Landon, you don't have I feel like you'd have checkerboard overalls. No one's like even gifted them to you or anything?
No.
Wow.
Literally, like, there's two things I was scared of growing up. Like, you know those things that like you put next to this, like a baby gate next to the stairs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they didn't have to use a baby gate. They used one of three things. One of those troll dolls with the crazy hair. Wouldn't go near it. Dress shoes and overalls. Would not.
Is that a real story?
Yeah, it's a real story.
That's weird.
I hate them. Hated them.
Have against dress shoes.
I mean,
like when we were little, like dress shoes were ugly.
How young were you? That's my question.
I mean, I was probably like 5 to 10. Not a baby gate for 10. Like 5.
You're 10 years old and they had to keep you from
5
falling
and
down
under.
the stairs.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't comfortable.
How
was
often
it wearing them or the side of them?
Wait, what?
Was it wearing them or like the side of them would like even like?
Yeah, I think it was just wearing them. Like if they had them out, like, oh crap, I gotta wear those.
Landon's running the other way.
Yeah.
Love that.
But yeah, I'm cool with the black jerseys. Let's run them out there and see what happens. I definitely think these will look better than they did when Lane Kiffin brought them out, but it's not going to be like as cool probably.
That's what kind of we were talking about. Like I don't know if anything can match the energy from South Carolina in 09, like seeing them for the first time.
But yeah, don't do them against South Carolina at noon. That's just not. Do them at night. Do it at night.
I feel like this game was like already decided, and that's why I think they're going to do it this game. But if they're willing, if they're like, we got a night game against Ole Miss, they should switch it. I just don't know if they will.
I think everybody should wear number 27 this game.
That would be cool. They don't even sell 27 jerseys.
Wait, what?
Oh, the players.
Yeah, the players. Like all the players do for what? Everybody has to go buy one. No, like,
I would love it.
Everybody does like 42 in baseball. Like that'd be so cool if everybody wore 27. I don't know.
Might get a little bit more hectic in football, but yeah.
Yeah, the spotters up in the box are gonna go cross-eyed, but I think it'd be cool.
I'm with it. I love that idea. I think the other team should wear 27 too. Just get it all out there. I also do think they need to sell more numbers than just 1, 16, 98, and whatever. Like, is that it? 1, 16,
They used
98?
to have 14.
They did. I think they do still 14 pretty often. They used to do like 7. 7 used to be, and not necessarily because of Clausen, just they used to be a very common.
Mm-hmm.
number.
I think like they should do more. They should do Kamara.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's get like, what were the Colquitts?
I don't know. 3 sounds right. No, they were like 80. They were like the 80s, I think.
Yeah, let's get some of those. Let's just get some whatever numbers on.
Well, that's like 38.
Yeah. I actually think I have a 31, which Jamal Lewis.
I used to have a 31 jersey.
I have a 27, and I'm probably going to wear it on Saturday.
It's with the orange and white stripe on the sleeve. Is that your 31? Dude, I used to have that. And
no, this is straight up Adidas, so it's probably it's probably newer than that, but that's
so mine was the Bell logo one.
Oh, okay.
Dude, it looks sweet, and I lost it when we cleaned up my dad's house, and I don't know where it went. So yeah. So that was a sucky jersey to lose.
Dude, no, I wrote the stat down. I had it on another piece of paper before my power went out. I was going to read it. So, yeah, like the entire neighborhood just went out. It was so
good.
Random. But
Facebook involved?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's Urban Meyer, man. He thought he knew we were going to talk about it on this show, and he's trying to erase everything.
The man's trying to keep us down right now.
Yeah. But Tennessee had 5 different players rush for over 20 yards, and 7 players average over 5 yards a carry.
I didn't think we ran that many people.
That's awesome. Dude, you could have we could have both had at least over 20 yards, easy.
I do. Line. My career stat line is 1 rush for I think it was 23 yards, so no big deal.
Nice.
Yeah. So don't give me the ball anymore. I'm done. That's it.
I don't think I ever got a rush in high school.
Mine was not on purpose. Pulled the classic punter keeper. So just took it and ran.
There you go, baby.
Call my own plays like Peyton Manning.
23.0. Special teams.
And there were 15 yards tacked on to the penalty.
There you go.
I got tackled out of bounds late. I don't think I didn't think it was that late, but I'll take give me the flag.
What about Laneith Whitehead getting freshman of the week?
I didn't know he got that. That poor guy, good for him because he got ran into the ground. They were like, we don't have any more running backs. Jabari's out for the game. We're not giving Tylen the ball again.
Yeah, like they had him and Jaylen Rod didn't get. He had 4 carries, and then Marcus Pierce had 11.
Yeah, all pretty much last couple drives, last 2 drives maybe.
Right.
Like I just there were like 2 drives they ran Laneith Whitehead, and by the time we got to inside the red zone or just out, I'm like that dude's exhausted. Like he's falling down the first chance he gets.
Oh yeah,
rotate someone in there.
He's a big dude, so like if they can get a lot, I know Tylen is he's got the speed and power, but I feel like Laneith Whitehead, he's a big dude.
No, he is. We didn't talk about Tylen Evans literally running 100 yards untouched, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, no one touched him.
I mean it's video game. That's what it was.
It is.
When like you were so good at like Road to Glory that you like would run the ball and like try not to get tackled. Like you'd see how far in the game until you actually got tackled.
Yep, that was it.
That's what Tylen Evans is doing.
I would also like to note I'm rarely right, contrary to popular belief. I've been saying Tylen Evans since he transferred here, or I guess got recruited here. I don't know how it works with JUCO. You get it. Since he arrived.
Absolutely.
Big Tylen Evans fan.
And we said the Playmakers too. We kind of pointed out like who we thought would have a big game. We thought Javonte Payton and Velus Jones.
Tylen Evans. You said Tylen Evans would have over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He doubled you up.
He did that in the first quarter.
He lapped you.
Yeah. I said Saturday, so I didn't say in the game. So I meant the first quarter. I just didn't want to give it away too much.
Yeah, you don't want Vegas to shut down your DraftKings account. So.
Right. Oh, dude, how nice is it that we actually got an opposing coach fired? Or we put the last nail in the coffin, whatever it was. He might have been on his way out, but Missouri fired their defensive line coach right after, I think on Sunday.
I still want to know how a defensive line coach gets fired. Okay, so he didn't get fired mid-game. That's a step up. I'll never understand it. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't
so
wanna get into that.
Jethro Franklin. I think he was hired on this year, so
Oh, even worse.
yeah,
Like Brumball.
Yeah, definitely like that. But yeah, how do you not fire that? Who's the defensive coordinator?
I'm not sure. I mean, but
that's the next one on the list.
That was truly one of the worst defensive performances I've seen, and I've seen Tennessee play Alabama a lot in my life.
Yep. Also, I think that like that game on Saturday, that should be a message to like. I hope they just hammered recruits this week and just been like, "Hey, year one, 62 points." Held Tyler Beatty's 68 yards.
Let's do it 2 weeks in a row.
I am kind of worried about the Ole Miss. Like, we're talking about Ole Miss too much, and we play South Carolina on Saturday. It's kind of making me a little nervous about it.
No, I think when you're talking about getting to 6-6, this is a must-win. You get this one, this gets you to 4. That leaves South Alabama and Vanderbilt on your schedule. I think if you get this game, you're at 6 wins. Everything after that is gravy. Obviously, You don't want to lose them in bad fashion or anything like that, but I legitimately believed at the beginning of the season your ceiling, and it was before you knew how bad Missouri was going to be this week, before you truly knew how bad South Carolina was going to be. I thought 6-6 was probably your ceiling. So go win those games. And that gets into kind of what we talked about. Win the games you're supposed to win, and then kind of just play for everything else. So go take care of – you should beat South Carolina. You're favored by 10.5 points. I think that line by game time will move down to more like 8.5, especially since it's already moved 2 points. Mm-hmm. I think it balances out right about 9. I would say 7-9 is what I have Tennessee winning by. So I think it gets down a little bit. Win the game you're supposed to win, and then go play for everything else. You're going to have the offense compete with Ole Miss. Defensively, put that off. Kentucky, it's going to be a toss-up game. If you want to just look at a single game, then you can also look at a single game in Missouri if you want to look at common opponents so far. So you can't just look at them beating Florida. As far as Georgia and Alabama go, well, yikes. But that's your schedule. It's not as – your back end is – I feel like this is one of the most favorable schedules of all I've seen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it does kind of suck when you look at who you got in those next 4 games after South Carolina. You do have a bye week in between those. But it has kind of worked it where it looks like you have a gauntlet from – I think all 4 of them are top 17 teams. Now, who knows what they'll be when we actually get to them?
2 of them will be 1 and 2. They are 1 and 2 right now. They'll be 1 and 2.
Who, Ole Miss?
Oh no, Alabama and Georgia.
Oh yeah. Alabama, 1 and 2.
But
I mean, their record's 1 and 2. I was like,
no. Yeah, if any year, like you said, obviously that stretch of games doesn't look easy. 17 Ole Miss, 1 Alabama, 16 bye week, 16 Kentucky, 2 Georgia. But if you look at an SEC schedule for Tennessee in most years, that schedule is favorable,
right?
Especially when you're talking about where you think you could potentially pick up wins. You get Kentucky after a bye week. You're not going back-to-back Alabama to Kentucky. You get South Carolina before Ole Miss. Alabama, obviously, as a fan, I mean, it would be fantastic for Tennessee to win, but if we just want to look at it from a realistic perspective, I mean, come on. Same with Georgia. But after you play Georgia, you get South Alabama and Vanderbilt finish the year. 6-6 is incredibly doable, and I feel a little crazy for saying that. Obviously, I think that puts this week as a must-win.
Absolutely. I just think, you've seen South Carolina play. They barely beat ECU. They did, I guess, when you look at it, they kind of had a good showing against Kentucky. They didn't look great against Troy. I mean, I just think this team is just not very good. They're not bad defensively, but their offense is just – I mean, they're starting to grad assist in that quarterback.
If Tennessee can go out and execute like they did this week, I'll feel confident. We'll get into more of that Thursday. We did kind of talk about Kiffin under the lights. I don't know if you have anything to add, Landon, but gets to welcome back everybody's favorite head coach, apparently, to Neyland.
It'd be great to whoop his ass in Neyland. Let's send him back on the tarmac.
I'll drop him to McGee Tyson. We burn mattresses if we beat that game, not because we're celebrating the win, just in remembrance of that night.
Yeah,
remembrance. Big thing is make sure you have popcorn at that game. That'll be a fun one. I do want a popcorn maker. If anybody's got a good lead on a popcorn maker, preferably one I don't have to take back with me because those things are bitches to clean up and I don't want to put it in the back of my car. So preferably one I can just leave at the tailgate. I'll take it and we'll hand out popcorn because. Did you think – I want to get into week 5 in college football. That was an interesting interview, was it not?
Wait, which one?
The one where Kiffin was like, get your popcorn ready, and then throws his –
Yeah. I don't – dude, you got to watch what you say before you're about to go up against a freaking juggernaut like Alabama.
You just need to watch what you say before you play anybody.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But one thing I don't, and which, I mean, Alabama couldn't have used that as locker room material that night, but I don't understand coaches like purposefully giving teams locker room material. And I mean, it's not, I don't know, maybe they think they're kind of being like the Spurrier of this generation, like the Dan Mullen and Todd Grantham coming out and saying that the Monday of the game after the Tennessee game. Like, I mean, we know what, the offense played this week is not the offense playing next week. Like, why even give a team – first off, if you're not going to say it before the game, you can't say it after the game. So that was cowardly, Todd Grantham. That was cowardly if you just want to look at it for that. But second off, if you don't think Tennessee's coaches are going to use that for next year, you're an idiot. Like, why purposefully give people locker room material? But if you're going to do it, you have to do it before the game. You can't go win and then say that. That's not how it works. Like,
it's cowardly.
It is. And so that's annoying. But then Dan Mullen contradicting himself. I don't know. Does Kiffin, does Dan Mullen, like, do these guys think they're the Steve Spurrier of the generation? Because you're going to have to win more ball games if you're going to be the Steve Spurrier of this generation.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Mullen just continues to, I mean, granted, he's got Tennessee's number. I'll give him that. But, I mean, what games –
he's at Florida. He's got Tennessee's number by virtue of where he's at.
Right.
If he still coached at Mississippi State, it'd probably split the series. I mean –
yeah, I mean, Muschamp had it. Everybody's, even Shark Humper had it to a certain extent. So, yeah, I don't get that. But, yeah, he's got to win some games, like some meaningful games. Like beating Tennessee when Tennessee's been down for 10 years, I mean, that's really nothing to hang your hat on. But losing a game that you were favored in by 10 points is – bad.
No, let's start there too. That was the 6:00 game of the SEC tripleheader on Saturday night. I mean, Kentucky, credit to them, they had that big kick return, blocked field goal return. So took advantage of special teams. I mean, their offense played what I would call a fairly clean game enough to win a ball game. Florida just didn't look great. I mean, bottom line.
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed with them. And you mentioned like they scored on special teams. I wasn't super impressed with Kentucky either.
No, they didn't play. I mean, they didn't play incredible. They played a good enough game to win, but I think they had one turnover. I'm not sure how many Florida had. I mean, they always had that block punt. That's big. I think they just had one turnover too. But at the end of the day, that blocked field goal was the difference in the score.
Florida did have 15. I mean, they couldn't even snap the football. They had 15 penalties for 115 yards. So it wasn't like big penalties. It was false starts and illegal procedure, and they just couldn't snap it.
And all of that in Kroger Field. What an ugly affair. Just ugly.
It was both teams combined 5 for 22 on third down. Just an ugly game.
Yeah, that's not fun. It is a good, like, I hate Kentucky, but all in all, good for you. I'm glad that fans got to storm the field. That's good. Love that. Big storm guy. So good for you. If you're a Kentucky fan, enjoy the win because they don't come often. Thursday night, Virginia at Miami. Fire Manny Diaz tonight or Thursday night. Drive him to the airport, drop him off, tell him you'll send his bags later. Don't give him time to pack. Just what an idiot. I mean, Virginia's not Tom Brady. Virginia's not Aaron Rodgers. Giving them the ball with a minute left isn't that big of a deal. Go if you have the chance to score, go score.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why Miami in the state of the ACC should have a losing record. I mean, the ACC is not good. You're in Miami. You have talent literally on every single block. I just don't understand how they're so bad. I guess Florida State's the same way. Like, I don't understand how they're bad either.
Right. Yep. I'll never understand it, actually. Fun fact. Friday night, Landon, we hit the parlay. That's why we tell y'all to come here. We're here to hit parlays.
Money wins.
We both said that was an easy money line. I mean, none of those games were like the closest game was BYU and Utah State. Everything else was cushy.
Mm-hmm.
And even that, and I said BYU game was close. That might be
Iowa freaking dominated.
Oh yeah, Tulea, he looks terrible.
Yeah.
How does Nick Saban always get it right? Like no one's transferred from Alabama, no quarterback, and just balled out.
Nope.
I hate him so much.
Well, Jalen Hurts, I guess, if you.
But he still got it right. Like, Tua,
yeah.
Playing Tua still get, and Jalen, like he pretty much. I think he told this story on the Peyton cast or whatever Manning cast, where he was like, I asked Jalen, like, who do you think has the best players? He said Oklahoma. I told him to go there. Like, the man gets it right. It's insane. I guess you're right about at least Jalen did ball out, but it's not like the quarterback at Bama struggled while Jalen was.
Well, and when you have all that talent, like it's easy to pick out who's who and who's not.
Yeah, but I mean, you would think it, especially I get, and maybe you see it in the next 5 or so years with how many quarterbacks are coming there. But like they had that rotation with Blake Barnett and Jalen Hurts. Blake Barnett transferred, and people like I couldn't remember his name.
He went to like 8 teams.
Yeah, Saban obviously got that one right. I mean, yeah, I guess he's only been faced with a few quarterback transfers because everyone else kind of just sat behind. Jalen Hurts transferred out after winning a national championship, whatever. So yeah, it's nuts. But Alabama, Ole Miss, we briefly talked about that one. That's just Alabama. Let's talk about both the games. Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Arkansas. The two best teams in the SEC are the two best teams in the SEC. They're separated from the other 10.
Two of the best teams in the country. Is that what you mean?
And two of the best teams in the country, but they're separated in the SEC from the other 10. Not that the top of those other 10 couldn't compete with them.
12.
But they're not going to beat them.
There's
often.
14 in the SEC, right?
Well, I'm not giving Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. Well, Mississippi State did beat A&M.
Well, and 16 if you count Texas, Oklahoma.
Fair. Well, they are definitely in the bottom of those two. But no, I do. I mean, I guess so. Maybe just the other 11 because Vanderbilt couldn't even beat ETSU. So those two teams, they are going to be for the foreseeable future. I mean, they're dominant, and Georgia's offense is coming alive. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean that defense is disgusting. I mean, Arkansas had no
right.
It was after they went up 14-0. You're not scoring. I think they've given up like 22 or 23 points the entire year. I mean, they swarm. That defense is. Who was it? Was it Beamer who just went nuts over Georgia's defense?
Well, I mean, they have a 5-star at linebacker. They got a 5-star at safety.
I mean, Jordan Davis is. I mean, he literally looks like Thanos.
Yeah, they definitely followed the grown men part of recruiting. Georgia does. So. Yeah,
they get that. Those guys don't get carded anywhere.
Right. I do want to hit on some more notable games. Stanford upsets Oregon, 31-24. Oregon, number 3. What did they drop to?
Hold on. 8.
8. So not a good spot to be after that. Penn State dominates Indiana. Penn State, I'm interested to see how their year finalizes.
They play Iowa this week.
That's right. Iowa's number 3. I was in that 3 spot now. Oklahoma beat Kansas State. I think the over did hit. No, it didn't. It was 70 something. I think this is like the third year in a row that game the over hadn't hit. Something weird like that. It was a weird stat. Notre Dame beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati beat Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Landon's locks, guys. It's my fault. I'm the mush. I played Landon's locks, and they just weren't it. They weren't it this week. It's my fault.
Yep. Going 2-2. I mean,
right.
Florida that game was just, they should have beat Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was an ugly game.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, Kentucky did what it took.
But Cincinnati proved me wrong. Like, I'll never bet against Cincinnati. They look legit.
Yeah, and I hope assuming they stay undefeated, I hope they get an actual shot at the college football playoff. I feel like this is the year that it may, because like how many undefeated teams are going to be left? You drop one this week in Penn State or Iowa for sure. I guess Oklahoma maybe, depending on. I mean, will they get beat by Texas?
When's Vegas going to respect Michigan?
Michigan, Wisconsin was my next game on that list. I don't know. I don't have faith in Harbaugh. So let's see what happens. I mean, I know he's beaten a lot of good teams.
They played Nebraska this week, and the line's at -3.
Oh, yikes.
I already took it.
I was about to say.
I already took it.
I may be logging out of here soon. I actually have my DraftKings pulled up. I may go sprinkle a lot on that. A couple of units.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michigan's looked good this year, for sure. We mentioned Mississippi State upsetting Texas A&M. A&M is terrible. I mean, they are awful. I don't know what's happened. They're bad.
Quarterback play.
Quarterback play has been disastrous. But, I mean, even then, they're just bad. Like, they're just not a good football team. Not good at all. I no more real notable games for me other than maybe ETSU 5-0 after beating Wofford. That's about all I got.
So, you talk about Georgia and Alabama, and then it's kind of everybody else. Who is number 3?
I would have said Florida before this week.
Yeah, I would. I probably would have too. You think maybe Ole Miss?
I guess it's Ole Miss, Arkansas. I mean, right now it's hard to say because both of them got whooped up pretty good this week. But I'd say one of those two teams right now, like with everything you know right now. I think it would be unfair to put Florida there after a loss to Kentucky. It's definitely not Kentucky. I know they're 5-0, but it's just not Kentucky. It's not. We know it's not Mississippi State. I doubt it's Auburn. We didn't mention the Auburn LSU game.
That was a good game. That
was a great game. I mean, it was mayhem. It was a bad college football game, but it was a great game to watch.
Just when you're like, yeah, Bo Nix isn't that great. Then he has a game.
Does it again.
Yeah, it's just like, what the?
I mean, are we unfairly judging Auburn based on the Georgia State game? I mean, I didn't think they looked great against Penn State either, though. But you did only lose by a touchdown. Well, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
I guess. I mean, that's Chad told me today. Like I said, we'd probably be ranked if we end up beating Pitt, or at least close to it. And he was like, "No, I just don't think the quality of opponents as he has would put him as a ranked team." And Auburn basically has the same schedule we did, and they hung around with Penn State. I think Tennessee did too until it kind of got away from them with Florida. But they almost lost to Georgia State.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of agree with that.
They probably should have lost to Georgia State. I'll say that.
For my bet's sake, I'll definitely say they should have. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Auburn, I guess, Auburn, Tennessee, the way it's kind of like laid out this year, yeah, it's very similar. I mean, I agree with what you said about, I mean, if Tennessee beats Pitt, they've got to be in that 25-20 range, I would think.
Yeah.
Pitt got I told you guys it was an overcorrection. Pitt's not a team that loses to Western Kentucky. Or Western Michigan. I don't know what happened that week, but they weren't going to go and play Purdue to 3 points. So, right. Or not Purdue, that was Minnesota. I agree with that though. Minnesota. I know they weren't. They only played them to 7. Minnesota wasn't going to lose to Purdue. I think they were 2.5-point underdogs. They weren't going to lose to Mizzou. It wasn't going to happen. Who did Pitt play Georgia Tech this week? That's right.
They beat them bad.
Yeah, they about like 20 maybe.
Ooh.
And I think they were like 3-point favorites. They weren't heavily favored.
Yeah, college football is it's been tough.
It's been tough. I think Vegas.
They won by 31. Pittsburgh did.
Yeah. I think Vegas has spotted us a couple points because I think there's been some overcorrections. I thought the Minnesota and Pitt were both overcorrections. I think Tennessee this week, I would have taken South Carolina at 12 the way it stands because I think Tennessee may be a slight overcorrection. Not that I don't think Tennessee can do it again, but that's asking a lot of a team to do that 2 weeks in a row for a team that's not that great. Like, I think what Tennessee did to Missouri, they do 1 out of 10 times. I'm not saying they lose the other 9 games, but I don't think they do that.
I would like to
9 out
see
of 10 times.
a first quarter like there where we just dominate and, you know, get everybody kind of out of the game and rested for Ole Miss next week. I would love that.
Oh, for sure.
Let's score like 3 touchdowns in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, less than 10 minutes. 3 touchdowns in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
5.5. No, that would be nice for sure. Do we have any questions? I know, or anything else you want to touch on for college football this week?
We did have some questions. Let me get to those real quick.
While you're doing that, guys, go ahead and get it in now because by the time we talk Thursday, Coastal Carolina will be well on its way to its over against Butch Jones and Arkansas State. So go ahead and go get that over in right now. Don't ask me what it's at. It doesn't matter. It's a system bet. You play it. Butch Jones is going to get his ass kicked by the Mullets this week. So just make sure you go play it.
Steve Ray said, "Where is Jaylen Hyatt?"
It's a good question.
Yeah, I know he got banged up in that Pittsburgh game. So I'm sure that's been, you know, a little transition to get back. I mean, it just feels like I don't want to say a sophomore slump, but I mean, he's just not producing.
No.
He's had some issues with the drops. And then guys play man coverage on him and press man coverage. And it's been hard for him to really get off that.
Yeah. I think you even said that early on, like he's not done great against press man. I think you mentioned it against Pitt as an issue. So yeah, that's definitely creates some trouble there for Jaylen. Yeah. I'd like to see him get back to form. He's obviously really fast. He's got to catch the ball when given the opportunity. Also, don't know how much injuries affected him.
We did have another one too. Dub himself says, "Do you think the offense is starting to click, or is Missouri just terrible on defense? Does this weekend change your outlook on the next 3 games this month?" I was probably chalking up, I think a little bit of both. But I think Tennessee corrected a lot of stuff a lot of little stuff, like the penalties, taking care of the football, hitting on the deep throws, just timing and stuff like that. And the offense or the defense just kind of fed off that, it felt like, or vice versa, whichever one it was. And then I was gonna Ole Miss is definitely a loss in my opinion, and I like our chances a little bit better. I'll say that.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you're saying. It doesn't change the outlook entirely for me, but it does kind of give me a little bit more hope in that Ole Miss game. I think the kind of going back in, does it? I mean, I just South Carolina's an SEC game. It's an SEC East, it's division rivalry if you want to call it that. I know that's probably using that term a little loosely, but it's not going to be an easy game by any means. So I don't think it's as simple as saying, go out in the first quarter and then cruise the rest of the way. But if you can go out and get to the first quarter, first half that you did this week, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get some guys, some reps in there and also rest some guys for next week. So maybe changes my outlook in that sense a little bit. The final game of October, though, that doesn't change my outlook any. I'll say that.
No, I'm with you on that. Yeah, South Carolina, I think it does change my outlook a little bit because I think if you beat the brakes off Missouri the way that you did, you should absolutely beat the brakes off the South Carolina team.
I'd agree with that.
I mean, they're terrible.
I agree. I don't think it may. I don't disagree with that. They should, in terms of like how you. It's just.
Can they do it 2 weeks in a row?
Can you do it 2 weeks in a row? Can you do it to an SEC opponent? Period. And then 2 weeks in a row. I think there's just a lot. Like, again, I don't think Tennessee does that to Missouri. But 1 out of 10 times. So can they do it to another opponent?
And we did that 11 local time, putting that brunch ass whooping.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't even make it from brunch. That stadium was empty.
All those Missouri fans had those brunch hats on, and they just Oh, man. They didn't even get off the toilet after eating that biscuit and gravy, and we were already up 3 touchdowns.
Oh, man. What we got for most important of the week?
Great stat for you.
Okay.
Sam Darnold.
Okay.
Actually, damn, I shouldn't have let it off like that. But, oh well. Most rushing touchdowns in the NFL.
Wow. That's real?
That's real. He's got 5.
I would have never guessed. Like, not in a million years ever guessed that. So, thank you for just flat out telling me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That was
Also, to kind of segue, just staying with the number 5, Trayvon Diggs has 5 interceptions in 4 games for the Cowboys. It was against my Panthers, but Cowboys look good. I will say this: the Panthers were missing Christian McCaffrey, but
fair.
The Cowboys were pretty dominant in that game. And Trayvon Diggs, Alabama guy, but he's pretty damn good.
He's okay.
He's all right.
He's all right. For sure. Most important of the week.
You got any more most? Do you have it? Oh, I do have the 60-point outputs. So I guess our first one was in 1993. It was Vanderbilt 62-14. 94 we did it 65-0 against Vanderbilt. 2000 against Arkansas, we won 63-20. 2016 63-37, and then 62-24 in 2021.
Not too shabby. Let's do it again this week. Let's just keep adding to that.
Yeah. 60. So you got the 50 burger. What's 60?
I think it's just the 50 burger. Like everything above 50, I think is 50 burger, right? Joe may know. I know he's a 50 burger guy.
I would like to maybe a 60 sandwich.
Okay.
I think the correct terminology would just be a 60 burger, but I like 60 sandwich. I'm not opposed to it.
I appreciate it.
But I mean, like 60.
Hey, I'll say this: Ollie Lane in this picture looks like he loves a 60 sandwich.
Yeah.
Peep the new Twitter banner.
Yeah. Friend of the pod too.
Yeah, Ollie, big friend of the pod. So like 60 sandwich specifically has to be like a Gus's sandwich because that's the only sandwich I would take.
Oh, it's a dirty sandwich.
Yeah, like a greasy, just like one that you're definitely gonna like spill the contents out as you're eating it, like one of those.
Yeah, it's like if you put on your lap in the paper, your lap's gonna get soaked.
Those I'm in. Sold. Is that your? I'm confused where we're at. Most important of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I did have those. That's kind of, I guess that's all I got for. If you want, like, I think this is funny. Clemson being unranked for the first time since November of 2014. I think that's pretty cool.
That's a wild. I would have thought it was honestly before that. That's pretty crazy. I mean, 2014. That's a year away from them playing in a national championship, right? Or maybe 2.
I guess. When did Dabo take over?
I don't know when he actually took over. I think it was like in that range, 2012, 2014, somewhere there. My first most important of the week. Jabril Peppers. Did y'all see this?
Yes.
Boom, we want that ball blank. First off, you have to win when you do that. Like, there's no option. You've got to
hot mic.
Yeah. But that's that's the thing that Lane Kiffin's got to learn though. You better win those games if you're going to say that.
Right. Joe, you got any most important?
No, I got to fail, but that's the importance. I just speak, spin, and plunder.
I don't have a ton. I guess I've been real negative because I don't have a ton of most important. I do have a couple fails. Yeah, I don't think any of them have to do with Tennessee. If that makes you feel better. I also just have a ton of screenshots.
Why are people so mad about the black jerseys?
Dude, it's not people. One person specifically. Which I was a child last night on the internet. I was just being annoying, and I couldn't put down my phone. I was just really mean. I should have stopped. It wasn't mean to him. It was just mean to the people on my timeline that had to see it. So I apologize. I do apologize for that.
Mm.
Yeah.
He does. That guy does suck.
My first, I'll move on to fails. So The Athletic wrote, I never read the article, and I have a subscription to The Athletic that I don't use enough, but they got me that I forgot to cancel it, and they renewed my membership. I hate automatic drafts. But Bruce Feldman wrote an article that said, I believe this scheme held Trevor back. Despite a load of five-star talent, things have suddenly gotten really hard for Clemson. College football analysts and rival ACC coaches explain why this has become a bottom 10 offense and what they can do to fix it. Was this not the article I was thinking of? I just read that. And yeah, so I didn't read the article, so I'm just basing this off the tweet. But Trevor Lawrence won a Heisman. What could the offense have – and Clemson won national championships. What could the offense have possibly have done to hold him back? And why does that explain Clemson being bad? I was just very confused by it. I don't get it. I should probably read the article, but you want me to click on the article by your tweet, so I'm just going to judge everything I know about this tweet. I don't understand how it held Trevor back, and I hate when coaches come out and they're like, I knew this offense sucked all along. Well, you didn't think it sucked when it was beating you, so that's weird. But all of a sudden they're not ranked, and this was the problem all along. Shut up.
Yeah, I mean the problem is they just don't have a stud at quarterback anymore.
No, for sure.
Just a bad take. That's all it is.
Yep.
Awful take.
What you got as your fail?
It was more just like on the whim. I was trying to stay updated with this game tonight, the Monday night game.
Oh yeah.
Chargers Raiders, and they were in a rain delay or a weather delay in a dome. It's a dome, and there was a lightning delay, but they're indoors, so like I didn't get updated on all the stuff, but like I was waiting for the game to start for fantasy, and like I just thought to myself, I was like, they're in the dome, right? Like it's closed ceiling. I don't know, but maybe I'm missing something.
They're showing an outside picture as you speak. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Too. So on top of that, it's very strange. I don't know if that was outside the stadium or just a random landscape picture, but So is that have there ever been weather delays for? No, surely not. I mean, other than like maybe if they have to close the roof.
Yeah, but even if there is like bad weather, can't you just close the roof?
Right. I don't know. That's very interesting.
You can't play basketball in the rain.
It's true. You can't.
Yeah, that's weird.
My first fail. Did you see Roddells New Helmets?
Are they ugly?
They look terrible. There's like no. I don't know if you're not gonna be able to see that. Can you?
That looks like a.
It looks almost like a motocross
lacrosse mask.
So what it looks like to me is it looks exactly like a hybrid hockey helmet. So it's got like it looks like because the top of it's just a visor, and then the bottom of it's a face mask. I don't get it. It's terribly ugly. I don't know why they're doing that. But UCLA and someone else wore them this week.
It's concussion proof, right?
Of course. Of course.
Oh gosh.
Some of these are getting ridiculous. Like there's so many. I don't know how it's technically better for them. Like there's so many like holes and gaps in it now. I'm like, I feel like you're getting less helmet. It's very.
You're not getting your money's worth.
I'm definitely not getting your money's worth. No, I bet that helmet's $500. I bet it's closer to $1,000. Helmets are ridiculous.
Helmets are really expensive. My next one is Oregon.
Uh-oh.
And the way that they lost. Did y'all see this?
Stanford.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. What player are you referencing?
So they are. It's 1st and 10. Oregon has the ball on Stanford territory, up 7, with 2:18 left. And from this point, Oregon had 2 consecutive false starts through an incomplete pass to stop the clock, had a targeting penalty, committed a PI in the end zone, allowed a 96-yard touchdown drive, and lost in overtime.
God, Mario Cristobal probably had a stroke during those penalties.
Oh, my God. How does that happen? Why do you throw a pass?
That don't get me started about choking away a game in the final minute,
Dog, man,
final drive.
Yeah, did you ever play Madden or NCAA? Learn how to control the clock, baby.
I've never ran out of timeouts on Madden. I'll tell you that. I just quit if I started losing.
Yeah. That reset button.
Speaking of that, I haven't played Madden in a while. Maybe good.
I've given up on Madden. Like I used to buy it every year, and like
It's like the same thing.
I would buy like the $100 version, and be like, "Oh, I got a sick team," and then like 2 weeks in, it's just the same thing every single year.
Yep.
They've got me on a reoccurring contract or something. I can't not buy it. I don't know why.
You got
I know
that
it's the
auto
same
draft?
thing. Yeah, that and FIFA. I'm like, this is so stupid. Every time I buy it, this is dumb. I feel like, and I don't play it enough, so like I feel like I've only played it 10 times by the time a new one comes out. I'm definitely not getting my money's worth ever. Tennessee. Tennessee emailed me like an hour after the Missouri game trying to sell me South Carolina tickets. Then they called me today. I'm glad I didn't answer the phone. I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind because, they're probably going to make us pay a donation now. The poor girl that left me a voicemail was like, you don't want to talk to me. Like, you do not want to hear what I think about the ticket office right now. So it's like, just don't call me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, me and my dad are definitely upset about the baseball thing. It's pretty ridiculous what they're doing. They've literally already pretty much sold all the season tickets except for the ones like up in the upper section.
Dang.
And they don't go on sale until tomorrow, but there's none available. So they've given them to all these boosters and companies that are never going to use them.
Never, and especially if Tennessee
so
doesn't go to Omaha this year. They're not going to buy them next year.
Right, and you're going to have a bunch of empty seats at huge games because you sold them. Yeah, ticket office, be in the ticket office, whatever. My next one is South Carolina. Like what's bad about, like, yeah, you threw it up in the air, you should have scored, moron, dumb. But the fact that this man was the only person in the stadium that actually thought he scored watching the replay.
No, he realized on the replay that he did. That's how I took it.
No, he was shocked that he was shocked that
they called it a touchback.
He was like,
the face I saw was like, I can't believe I did that. That was the face.
Yeah,
I saw.
so this is the picture after they reverse it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw him watching it on the Jumbotron, but I took it as, holy shit, I cannot believe.
I mean, even everybody on the sidelines, they're like, it's all good, dude. It's fine. He's just like,
that's a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm like, dude. I mean, it's not even close.
Oh man, I think that's all I got for fails. I've got to
just try to sell it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got to. You never admit. Deny.
Take it to your grave.
One thing we didn't talk about. I don't have any more fails. We didn't talk about Urban Meyer. We failed to discuss Urban Meyer.
Dude, what about the fingers up the butt? What is he doing?
I mean, I know what he's doing.
I mean, you got to be a little bit smarter than that.
Dude, I'm just like, how can you be Urban Meyer and go to a bar? Like a very, very clearly very public bar.
I think it's his own bar.
It is.
Right?
It's his own bar in Columbus. Which makes it like all time even worse.
I'm not saying football coaches shouldn't have a life outside of football, but you're coaching an 0-4 team that's not had many good games. Maybe you shouldn't be taking the weekend off to go back to Columbus.
And wasn't his wife like babysitting?
Something like that.
She seemed to be laughing about it.
I mean, he looked like a dead man walking today in his press conference. It was.
Well, he's gonna have a stroke here soon, Landon. So.
And are we? Yeah, definitely. Heart problems are just bursting right now. Are we sure it's not Trevor Lawrence? Like, are we 100% positive?
Dude, that's Trevor Lawrence. Squats are working, my friend.
He looks good in shorts.
He looks great in shorts. There's no doubt about that.
Looks even better in jeans.
The thing I don't understand about Urban Meyer is how can you have this clean persona and like somehow I guess most people have been like, yeah, he's clearly not the guy he says he is for a long time. But it just seems like people think he's just this great guy. No, he's just a normal everyday scumbag. Like,
yeah,
like he's just like, I mean,
he's just horny.
He employs abusers. He'll recruit anybody that gets the job done and goes to the bar and tries to hook up with random women. I mean, he's just every run-of-the-mill scumbag. Nothing special. You think Tim Tebow's reached out to him yet?
He probably has. He definitely has.
I bet Tim Tebow tries to like get him to hang out on like Saturday nights. He's like, "Hey man, you want to come in? We're gonna watch a movie tonight. You want to come hang out? I know you're struggling." Sorry, Tim Tebow, I didn't bring you in. There's no reason for that.
He's probably like yelling at him.
Oh, you think
like every pep talk? No, it's like he's giving him a pep talk.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I mean, he does say he's his son, or like a son. I think he says he's pretty much his son. So maybe.
Didn't he say the same about Zach Smith too?
I think he did. I'm sure Tim Tebow finds that great company.
Yeah. All right. I'm done making. I'm not. I could make fun of Urban Meyer all night because that's just hilarious to me. I hate it. I hate that guy.
Yeah, that guy's a dickhead.
And his team's horrible.
It's good that he's on a terrible team. Like the fact that he got to coach Florida and Ohio State for so long, he deserves this. Truly. That's all I got. I'm good. Tennessee. If they don't win this week, I will go back to being very sad. I'm with Joe and the whole caution. I am cautionally optimistic right now.
Something like that.
I'm going to be
high
patient.
alert.
Yeah.
Treading lightly.
Yeah.
Very much so.
If we go hammer down South Carolina, it'll be a different story. But until then, let me just.
I'll be full-blown orange goggles come Ole Miss week. If this week's performance is anything like last, full-blown orange goggles. Vols to the national championship.
Yeah.
The Vols went out, man. They could play in the SEC championship game. So, just saying.
This is a good point.
Caleb, you're going to get people started. That Facebook crowd's now on Twitter, so they're –
I'm an idiot, and I responded to that dang stuff about the black jerseys to Austin. I thought, obviously, joking was like this is my exact tweet. Tradition is more important than winning. That seems like a joke, like clearly a joke. People were like, really? It's one game. Really? You care about tradition that much? No, I don't. It was a joke. I will win wearing anything. I'm not proud to say this, but if Urban Meyer was my coach, he would be my asshole, and I'd be defending him right now. If he was winning ball games. The moment he lost, though, I'd throw that scumbag back out into the bar, that blonde. But if he's winning ball games, he's my scumbag. My pride stops the win-loss column.
His wife beat his ass.
Yeah.
She's a big girl. She probably could.
She is, yeah.
Are we officially anti-Urban Meyer podcast? Is that what's happening?
If he's not winning at Tennessee, officially anti-Urban Meyer.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Deal.
100%.
And we're not giving him bulletin board material because he doesn't play Tennessee, so we're good.
He's gonna be coaching Florida next year. He's gonna come back.
He's back at his health is back.
Yeah.
That's what he needed. He just needed this one night to get his health in check.
100%.
I get it. Guys, that's all we got. Tennessee takes on South Carolina, another nooner, but then we get Ole Miss at 7:30 at night the next week. Enjoy it. Have a great rest of your week. We will see you back on another day. We might have to change on Thursday because Thursday I have a football game. Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll let you know when exactly we're going to record. That's all we got. We're bringing the